I said I was going to make a companion piece to my Canteen water bottle material comparison video with the archetypal differences between titanium, plastic, stainless steel, glass, etc. Materials. In this one, I'm going to just go over a quick comparison between some of these general types. I'll have one for the metal, and I'll have one for the plastic. Um, this one, I don't remember the names of these either, guys, so I'm just going to link them in the description for those interested. But with each of these things that I bought, I made the best decision I thought I could with the research I had at the time. This one, for the plastics, most of these are going to be Nalgene. And the reason why I include Nalgene is because they have a satisfaction guarantee, or I think a lifetime guarantee, I can't remember. But basically, if the product disappoints you, if it breaks at a certain point in time, you can usually return it for a replacement or a refund. And in general, these plastic bottles should last for years and years. Okay, so anyways, this is the Nalgene sort of, I'm just going to call it the squishy, since there's a bit of material that you can squeeze in there bottle, and I actually have several of these ones. And like I said, the biggest advantage I find with them is the fact that they are see-through, which, as I said, helps when there's a problem. And then at first look, I actually like it more than Nalgene's harder materials, something like this type of bottle. But all of the advantages have one huge drawback that makes me not recommend this. But again, I like the squishy part because Nalgene, I've heard, has a history of their materials cracking, especially as of recent. I think as of the BPA thing, I think the material that they switched out to perhaps is more prone to cracking or just less durable in general. But with this type, I think that they're just less prone to breakage or cracking with this sort of squishy type material. The other huge advantage I find is that this cap here, the topper, this long, slim, sort of narrow cap, I found is the easiest way to drink water out of virtually every canteen that I've tried. So when I can drink it when I'm moving, I can drink it in the car, and it doesn't just shoot like a super soaker in your face during mistakes. And I found this in virtually most of the other ones, some worse than others. And the other thing I like is this strap here. And any water bottle design with that strap I like, because you can, when you're carrying a bunch of weight, you can just loop one finger in there, and as long as it's sealed tight, you can hold it, or just carry it with just one finger instead of using your entire hand. In general, I think it's a great canteen design, but with the one drawback that I said, and that is that it stinks. I have never been able to get rid of the stink in this Nalgene squishy bottle. In any of them, they all smell like fish gunk. And it's especially worse during the summer. No matter how many times I've run it in the dishwasher, no matter how many dental tablets, the ones that you use for the fake teeth, I cannot clear that funk that gets in them, especially during warm weather. So these I do not use anymore, and I will never use again. In fact, after this video, I will probably donate them to my local charity. Anyways, okay, so I'm just going to jump straight to the other Nalgene designs here. This one is similar. It's got the same squishiness to it. Again, it's not see-through, so for plastic that is a big disadvantage, but again, I like the squishy aspects. I think it just makes the thing more durable instead of hitting a corner, having an impact, and having the design crack, as you might see with something like this one. I think this one has it's a bit less smell than the other Nalgene squishy canteen, but it's still pretty bad. And I have mostly been able to get rid of this one, and with regular, weekly cleaning, etc., it tends not to smell, but it's not something that I like to use unless I have to, or I'm camping, or I'm traveling, etc., and I don't mind losing the bottle. Again, it has that loop that I like that you can hold it with, And in general, I found that Nalgene's, oof, I don't know what got in there, but Nalgene's wider cap tends to, you can drink it well without it shooting in your face. And then on to the other standard design. For the most part, the same thing. This is the generic Nalgene bottle that I think they've had for a long time now. It's mostly similar to the other design. It is see-through, which is a huge advantage. I like the loop. I found Nalgene's mouths to be consistently good, and I'm glad that they stick with basically two designs as far as I've seen, because both the narrow and the wide mouth work very well. Again, though, I think the problem I've heard with this one, even though this is the generic one and probably the most recommended, is apparently it has a history of cracking, so worth noting. Other plastic canteen designs is, here we have the USGI canteen that I mentioned earlier. Again, you have a huge disadvantage with the fact that you cannot see into the water, and the mouth opening is very narrow. It's in fact prohibitively, you can't see anything in there, if you're trying to clean in the inside here or here. However, despite those disadvantages, I think this might be the most durable, especially per price point, plastic bottle that you can find today. I could definitely kick this around for a long time, and no problem would come to it, and it's definitely cheap enough since it's usually just relegated to military surplus. So other than that mouth design, the fact that you can't see through it, and the fact that you can't see inside the mouth, it drinks well. Mine seals tight. I don't know if there's an issue with this sealing tight or not. It is a bit funny opening this cap here, and it does stink a little bit, but it's nothing near the the Nalgene canteen. But this one I actually generally recommend for a general purpose, especially, as I said in that video, if you're using plastic as a cheap travel accessory, which again you could use with something just like a stainless steel container there and use that for cooking and then pour it in. But certainly when you're talking about a narrow mouth like we are with the USGI canteen, you're gonna have a hard time pouring something like this into something as tiny as that. So worth noting. I think I only have one other plastic design, I hope, and that is the I think this is the NATO water bottle. I only have so much use with this one just because this one was actually kind of expensive, for about 20 or 30 bucks. I think it's made by BCB. It's some British company, British Crusader business. I don't remember, but this isn't often found in the U.S. I think, from my experience, it performs about as well as the USGI canteen. Again, you have this same loop here that are in all of these canteen designs I'm mentioning for the plastic specifically, which again is a huge advantage when you just want to carry it with that one finger. But the mouth opening on this one's a little bit better, so you can actually see on the inside. It still isn't to a point where it's a nuisance and shooting water in your face, and again, that'll become a bigger problem with the metal canteens. It seals very well. In all purpose, I would consider it a better made version of the USGI canteen. But really, the thing is, I don't use plastic that much unless I'm traveling, and in that case, I don't have too much of a problem if I'm sticking with plastic, the specific type that I'm using. Even though it's a dense plastic, just like the USGI one. And in general, like I said, I think it's a better design for the most part than the USGI one, but I have a problem with using it out because it's so dang expensive for what you get. But it also comes with, other than the other BCB Crusader crap, it comes with a plastic container. So usually you would think that it would be made out of a metal for cooking, and now the BCB one I think comes with a metal enclosure, but why the heck do you need two? And why would you give someone, why would you give somebody an aluminum one? because I think the NATO system, now this isn't with the US, but this is with Europe, here, I think, and it might just be Britain, I can't remember, but I think they have some cooking vessels that comes with that are made of aluminum, and some are made with stainless steel. I can't remember if the one now is what, but I don't see the purpose in including a plastic container for tea or whatever when you can just use the metal one, or you could just dump it back in here if you don't mind cleaning this later. So take what you will. It does, usually most of these canteen shapes fit inside the thing here. Now this is probably the only canteen shape that I've seen that does not fit into a generic, whatever these are called. But this one, instead of fitting like that, it actually, that's what the marks here are for, is to hold it on the top there. So just so you know, that's that. I guess the next question is, what would I recommend? Again, plastic is not the main thing that I'm going to use for drinking day to day, which is going to be, what, 90%? And neither is it going to be what I'm going to mostly use camping, because I have stainless steel. As I said in the other video, if I can afford something else, I'll probably use it. And I am a bit concerned about the plastic leaching problem. However, the two I would recommend are this, just because of the price. And if you're going to pay for that extra for the Crusader, unless you can get it for dirt cheap in Britain, I'd rather just use this. I mean, that's definitely strong enough to hold water. And again, for plastic, I'm going to carry something like this that I can cook water and purify it as best as possible. But if I'm staying in one spot or traveling and I'm concerned that the TSA might take it or whatever, I don't have a problem breaking it and I want the bottle, I'll usually use the Nalgene design here. Again, I like the Nalgenes because they have their satisfaction or lifetime guarantee if something goes wrong with it. And then I like this for the camping or just carrying this mug type design for cooking. But that is what I would recommend for plastic. Most of the plastics will get the job done. I think the USGI one, like I said, is probably the best canteen shape. The Nalgene one I would probably prefer because you can see through them. They have a really nice enclosure, but they're rank. I mean, they stink. And I mean, you can just challenge yourself all day and smell it, and it's always miserable. And then, I mean, something like this is, again, I think an alternative to this, just because I think this design is going to be a bit more durable, but you're also risking a bit of smell with this one. All right. Anyways, on to the metal one, and hopefully that can help you deduce your findings for a better canteen. I haven't found much plastic designs better than the Nalgene designs, just because of that guarantee and the fact that Nalgene's been in the game now of building water bottles for decades. So again, I would recommend Nalgene or Surplus. And if that British Surplus one was cheap as the USGI one, which I think is like around $7, I'd probably choose that over the USGI. Anyhow,